The views and opinions expressed by the following program are those of the host, guests, and callers and are not necessarily those of this station or Webster Rock Hill Ministries, its management, or other hosts or underwriting sponsors. Programs presented by KWRH-LP are for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Hey, you're listening to In Tune, a 2-hour weekly broadcast which focuses and reflects on issues that impact and connects our community and the greater St. Louis area. Our topics include the arts, crime, education, employment, faith, finance, food, history, housing, humor, and justice.
And you know, today, I'm going to give up the whole, remember how I always say on my show, the weekly wrap that comes up from 1 to 2, shameless plug, that I always have the best guest? Well, I think today, you outdid me.
Today on the show, we have a Director of Public Works in the City of Webster Groves, Todd Rehg. Todd, welcome to In Tune. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. And you know, and see, last week, Todd Rehg became the most important person in Webster Groves.
Absolutely, he was. Why was that, Ellie?
Because when we had that snowfall, I tell you, I want to say thank you, because the Webster Groves Public Works Department was on it.
Guys and gals are in Public Works, are you listening?
Thank you.
We're giving the kudos to you guys.
They were on it. I mean, like, I looked outside at 7 o'clock and my street, it was just covered. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't go anywhere. I looked out again at like 7:20 and it was gone. Then I looked out again at 9 o'clock. It was back. At 9:20, it was gone. The Public Works people, I tell you, they were on it last week, and we just have to give them the thanks and the praise.
It is a thankless job because they're up late all night, some of them multiple shifts, and everybody expects everything to be clean when they get up and want to go to work in the morning, and it's not necessarily the case all the time.
And I'm sure that they probably get more criticism than they do compliments, because we only, that's how we're wired as people. We don't want to give people their props, their roses, their $1 million while they're alive.
Now, his eyes lit up when you said $1 million.
I know, that's right, exactly.
Nice. Uh-huh.
Well, we might get, you know what? We might get Todd's name on like a street.
No, thank you.
We could rename Waymeyer, Ray Street.
Nah.
Ray Lane.
Ray Avenue.
Ray Avenue. You never know. Maybe the next school that we built. Well, we are really taking Todd up the ladder there. He's gonna want a raise.
Hey, Todd, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're an engineer, correct?
Yes, I have my engineer's license. I graduated from the Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville in 1993, and I've been in public works for 24 years.
Wow!
Worked at 4 different municipalities. My first public works job was at the City of St. Peter's. Then I went to the City of Belleville, Illinois. Then the City of Kirkwood, and now I'm at the City of Webster Groves.
And why public works? What was drawing you from the engineering background to get into that area?
When I first graduated, I did go to a consulting engineering firm, but they had me out on construction, and I enjoyed the construction side of it more than sitting behind a desk and drawing plans. So I looked at jobs in that sector, and public works was a big field, and there was some job openings, so
you went for it,
applied, and haven't looked back. So
yeah, that's great. And you, the public works, help people understand what are we talking about, because it's pretty diversified. There's a lot of different things in public works.
Yes, at Webster Groves, our public works department handles all the streets and sidewalks. Street trees, street lighting, the banners you see that go up across the streets, we put those up. Barricades, when there's the turkey run, when we had that, we set up all the barricades for all that with the police department, the no parking signs. So all the street signage, that's ours. And then also in public works, we have our engineering department. So we do the design plans for the construction of the public works, the sidewalks and streets and that. Then we oversee the waste hauler contract with waste management.
Oh yeah,
which includes the recycling.
Yeah, you guys really came on the radar with that one, didn't you? Here in Webster.
Yes.
Forget sidewalks, forget roads, forget clearing away the snow. Man, that new trash can.
What, because it was blue?
With a yellow top.
Oh, it didn't fit into the decor of
Right. And
The green ones are better.
yeah, jeez. Yeah, I remember reading many comments about that.
Many comments about that. I felt so bad for Public Works with that. I thought,
Well, in full disclosure,
okay.
I'm on the Health and Environmental Committee.
Okay.
And was part of the group that, as we listened to those presentations from those waste haulers, then we sent a recommendation to the city council. And so, it wasn't too good to be true. It was good. It was a good recommendation. However, the company, I believe, was sold twice after.
Three times.
Three times.
In the 2 years that they were
So
servicing Webster.
that explains a lot of things. But a lot of people were really mostly upset about the color of the trash can.
Exactly. And I thought, well, if that's all we have to argue about,
That's pretty good.
that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
So now we have the green cans back, and
And
we're
they're-
happy.
And they're smaller.
No, mine's about the same size.
No, they brought me bigger ones.
They
I don't
brought
know.
you bigger ones?
Yeah, I had a big, huge one.
Yeah, the 96 gallon is the
Yes,
big
I
one.
did. I had a big one.
Oh.
I don't know why, but yeah. And too, that company did give a discount to senior citizens.
Yes, 10%.
Correct.
Yes, they
That's
did.
one reason we went with them.
Exactly. So, I mean, there were positive
nice
things
perks.
to it, but,
Right.
the company was mismanaged. And unfortunately, then blame falls on people that really don't have the control. I'm sure, like, Public Works, all you're doing is
Yes.
responding to a situation,
Correct.
so.
But responding is a huge thing. So you've got, and we're going to talk about recycling here. We're going to spend a lot of time on that yard waste collection, tree trimming. You talked about chip sealing city streets, kind of
Yes.
keeping up with a plan for that, correct?
Yeah, we have a 7-year cycle on our asphalt streets. So every 7 years we do a treatment to them, whether it's a mill and overlay. And then after that mill and overlay, 7 years go by, then we come in and do the chip seal. And then after the 7 years is up on that, then we go back and mill and overlay again. So we try to keep that cycle in a 7-year, and that way it keeps our roads in good condition. So
Yeah, I think the roads in the community are pretty decent.
Oh, yeah. Could I ask a question, though,
Sure.
about that? Why are some streets concrete and others asphalt? Because, like, for instance, I live on Cornell, right up the street here, and my street is a concrete street. But you go right over on Holland, the next street over, and it's an asphalt street.
yes. If the street was built as a concrete street, we try to keep it
Oh,
as a
I
concrete
see.
street.
Okay. Oh, that
If
makes
it's an
sense.
asphalt street, we just keep it as asphalt because
It's
to
easier.
replace it to concrete, it's a lot more construction and a lot more expensive. So
Which one is better, though, the concrete or the asphalt?
concrete will last up to 50 years. Asphalt will last 15 to 20.
Wow. But asphalt looks better.
It's hotter.
As long as it stays black, it
Yeah,
kind of fades.
exactly.
Yeah.
Gets a little gray.
Yeah, it does.
It's hotter.
It is. I always feel like, I don't know, and it's probably just my mental thing, that during snow and ice, I always feel that the concrete street has more traction than the asphalt street, or during rain.
It should be vice versa,
You know,
because-
no, I don't know why. I think it's because the asphalt gets black and slick looking, so it makes me think that it'll be slick versus, the other. I always think I have better traction. Maybe that's not true. I don't know.
Well, there's black ice, so that happens
there
on the
is.
asphalt street.
It would be
so,
slickery.
Yep.
It would be
Slickery.
slickery. Are we making up words now?
I-
We
I
did
think
that
there-
last week, didn't we?
I think there is a word called slickery.
I think so.
I don't really think that it was a real word, but
We'll check that
it
out.
goes along with spam and what we came up with a bunch of words last week, didn't we?
Spam, you eat that. No, that's yeah.
Isn't that amazing? It used to eat spam,
Yeah.
and now spam like messes up your computer.
Messes up your computer.
But spam messes up your body too. That was the thing.
Hey, Todd, talk to us about the sewer lateral program. I know maybe many of the residents aren't aware of that, and
Sure.
in a community that's as old as Webster Groves, as many times those lateral lines collapse or
Yes.
have some issues with them.
And we had a
Yes.
vote on that too.
Yes.
About what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
You had to up it to the $50 maximum,
Right.
which is what's allowed by state. The sewer lateral program, sewer laterals, typically the older sewer laterals are clay pipes, and they're usually in 3 to 4 foot sections, 6-inch diameter. And those 3-4 foot sections, they join together, and at that joint, they used to put a sealant around that. Well, that erodes over time, and your roots can now get into that because it's very loose fitting, and roots are going to seek out water. So the roots get in there and they can pull the pipe apart. So if you have an actual break in your sewer, the city has an insurance program to offset the repair costs, and insurance covers 70% of approved repairs. If it's just clogged with roots and you got to have it cabled out, that's on the homeowner to have that done. So
Yeah. Now that's an expensive project, though, to have the lateral sewer line replaced.
to have a section replaced, yeah, on average, our average is about $2,800.
Yeah.
That's 100% cost, so we cover 70% of
Yeah,
that.
but that's expensive.
Yeah.
That's quite
Right.
expensive.
And that's only a 10-foot section. We don't replace the entire line.
Right.
So
Only until that collapses.
yeah, right.
Then
Each
it's much more
section that
expensive.
breaks will repair up to a 10-foot section. So
Okay. Now, there's been a huge discussion about. Matter of fact, listeners may remember the city of Kirkwood at one time. This is back, I think, a couple months ago. Was thinking of getting rid of their single stream recycling program. And because of issues that are going on in China, that China's not accepting certain kinds of recyclable materials. And there was difficulty at the recycling centers with separating materials because the public, i.e. all of us folks, are not doing our good due diligence in separating and correctly putting materials into the recycling bin. So, Todd, I want to talk about that because Kirkwood just, I think it was a couple weeks ago, said, no, we're going to continue with that program. But there are still issues that remain. Can you kind of give us a little overview of that, and then we'll dig into that a little bit more?
sure. The contamination issue. China was accepting a lot of the recyclables from the United States, but then they were getting a lot of contamination. So they said, okay, we're going to have to limit the contamination to 0.2%. The average across the United States is 45%.
What?
45% of the recycled materials
45% is
are contaminated.
Yes.
And so they end up where?
The contaminated ones, they have to pull them out of the stream and take them to the landfill because they can't be recycled.
Okay, so almost half the materials people put in the recycling bin are going to the dump.
Correct.
Okay.
So let's identify what is contamination.
Sure. The biggest contamination is the plastic bags from the grocery stores. People put those in their recycle bin thinking because they
You're
think
not
they can
supposed to do
recyclable.
that.
Correct. You're supposed to take them back to the stores. They usually have bins that they'll recycle them because they have the manufacturer that's making those for them. They actually want them back so they can send them to their manufacturer and have them recycled. But the recycling single stream, they have machines that separate all the recyclable materials, and those bags get wrapped around those machines and mess them up. And these are multi-million-dollar machines that are separating all the recyclables. So that's the biggest contamination. The other contamination is food waste. People aren't cleaning their jars and cans, pizza boxes. You can have grease on your pizza box, but you can't leave pieces of pizza and crust in the box. That's trash.
Okay, and those are some interesting questions because I always wonder, I take that white ribbed thing that's inside that the pizza sits on, I take that out and I throw that away.
Yes.
And then I take the box and unfold it, or, and then put that in there.
Yes.
So my question about like materials, let's say like canned vegetables or jelly jars or stuff like that, how clean? Do they need to be perfectly clean?
No, it doesn't have to be 100% clean, but give it a good rinse and then let it dry before you put it into your bin because that water will get into the cardboard and the paper, and then that'll ruin that part of the
And that's contaminated
stream.
then.
Correct.
Okay.
Because they don't want it wet; they want it clean and dry.
And it's almost like we need to go back and be re-educated about recycling because, let's admit, we all know that we're supposed to put plastics and paper and, we've got that part of it. But like you're saying, Todd, when we start to think about how clean should that jelly jar be, or, the jelly jar is easy
The mustard
to clean.
jar.
The mustard jar gets a little bit more difficult. The peanut butter.
Yeah.
Gets very
Right.
difficult. to
Nutella.
Get it out
clean.
as much as you can.
You know,
they're-
and so now we want to recycle. We want to do the right thing. But what you're saying is that we're not doing the right thing.
Right. We've gotten quite lax in our recycling. I mean, when it first came out, everybody was enthusiastic and
Right.
and they were saying, yes, recycle everything that you can. If you can tear it, throw it in the bin, just try to get your food waste out as much as you can, but throw it in there. We'll recycle it. We'll take care of it at the plant. But now it's becoming an issue with the contamination. So Webster Groves has applied for and has received a a grant to do an education program.
Oh, fabulous. Well, we're going to have them on the air to talk about that.
We're going to put together
this is the beginning here.
This is the beginning
We're
right
putting
here.
together a brochure that'll explain, what you need to do, what can go into your bin, how you're supposed to clean it, and then we're also going to have a magnet that you can put on your refrigerator. And then we're going to mail those out to everybody, so everybody in the city will get one. So you don't need to sign up for anything. We're going to automatically mail them out to you.
And be sure and give us a stack of them here, because we have a community table.
Yes,
and everyone who comes through here rummages through that community table, believe you me, and they take stuff. So that's good.
We've requested 10,000 of them, and there's 8,000 single-family residences in Webster Groves. So.
Okay, great.
So, I'm going back to things like a spiral notebook with the metal on it.
Yeah, if you pull the metal off, then you can recycle the paper.
Okay, so Ellie, these are things like, this is how my mind thinks, because I've always wondered about bubble wrap. And bubble wrap's you can't do that one.
That has to go in the
How about
trash.
those air pocket things that you get on the Amazon stuff?
Yeah, same thing.
Even though they say they are...
Pop them and put them in your trash, because that's the type of things that'll gum up the machines at the recovery facility. So.
Okay, now... I read also that sometimes when they say the number is recyclable, sometimes, like the manufacturer says it actually is not recyclable. How true or false is that? What's your experience?
If it has the number that with the triangle around it, the recycling triangle around it, go ahead and put it in your bin, and they can separate it out at the material recovery facility if it's not something that can be recycled.
Now, what's the number that is not recyclable? Is there a number?
Well, it used to be number 6 was not recyclable, but now it is.
Okay.
They will accept number 6.
What is number 6 the highest, or they go?
No, it goes to like 7 or 8, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And is that with the thickness or the kind of plastic?
It's the different types of material.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Very interesting.
And Todd, I have lived overseas, and I have really come to realize how important it is to really look at the kind of material, whatever you purchase, what it is, how is it delivered? Because here, we just think, we throw it out into the recycle bin or into a bin, and it's taken care of. It goes away. We don't see it again. But see, I've lived in countries where, one, I had to take my own trash to the dump.
Yeah.
That was one of the absolute worst things
I can imagine.
ever. If you've ever been to a dump, it's like the worst place ever. And you just have to feel so sorry for the people that work there, because you're driving into a place that, first of all, it's kind of like
Stinky.
Sheol. First of all,
Yeah,
Gehenna.
Sheol, right. Yeah, that's right,
In
Gehenna.
the Bible, Gehenna.
Yeah, it's smoking.
It's smoking.
It's stinky.
It's stinky. You've got John Crows all over the place. You've got flies like you couldn't imagine. And as you're driving through, like all of a sudden something might just go whoosh. A fire starts. It's just one of the most awful places that you've ever been. And there are people that have to work in that.
Yeah.
Then I've also seen the landfill, quote unquote, of styrofoam.
Oh, that's another big one.
That
Yeah.
in Panama, there is a whole swath of land that is nothing else but styrofoam.
And you're not supposed to burn it.
Nope.
No, because of the chemicals.
The chemicals.
Right.
So that swath of land that has nothing in it but styrofoam cups and styrofoam, takeout containers will be there forever.
Well, it goes back to this. I'm going to read a statement by a gentleman who actually lives in our community, Chris Dreyer. He said, some educational pointers, myth busters, and simplified approach, we could be doing much better. He talks about we've become too easy with the recycling, and he believes the single stream approach prompts people to place numerous items into recycling that don't belong there, such as garden hoses, dirty diapers, apple
Wow.
cores. You throw the apple core out on the ground.
That's right.
Coffee grounds, that works well on your garden, on your
garden.
plants. Clothing, plastic fencing, baby pools, toy bikes, shoes, and surprisingly, even lots of bowling balls
And the recycling bin?
in the recycling
Yeah.
bin. It's like, what are people thinking?
They're not thinking.
No. Well, they think, oh, it's plastic. Or it's metal.
No, it's, I need to get rid of it.
Right.
Okay, that's what it is.
Oh, it's got paper on it.
Yeah, we'll let somebody else take care of that problem.
Well, and it is. So he was suggesting going back to like the larger containers, you're getting rid from the larger containers to go ahead and saying plastic bottles here, you're
the little
you're-
the three
separating
things.
them.
yeah, separating them out a little bit. Because I know we've even gotten, you go to restaurants and they've got their recycling thing and then they say trash. And it's like, okay, well, what are you considering trash? Again, it's like
Food.
Where are we with this?
That's
Anything
right.
that's food related,
Goes
you
in
put in
trash.
here.
Right.
Well, what about a napkin that I really didn't use?
Napkins they're supposed to go into trash.
Okay, you heard that, folks?
Yes.
Even if
Wait.
it's not used.
Correct.
Wait. Napkins are supposed to go in the trash?
That is correct.
You're kidding.
Nope.
Even if they're not used.
Correct.
Well, see, if they're not used, they're in my purse.
Yeah, save it. Save it for later. Right. You never know when you're going to need a napkin.
I need to blow my nose.
That's right, Hey, if they're not used, they're in my purse. And there are times when I have gone in my purse to clean out my purse because I clean out my purse like once a week. Because
What else? Do you have any ketchup and?
wait,
She's got a whole bunch of condiments in her.
a whole bunch of condiments. I've got
Ellie,
candy.
Condiment Ellie.
That's right. I've got condiments. I've got sugar packs. I've got and napkins. I'm gonna tell you, they are chief of what's in my purse. So then they come from my purse and then they go to the car because you know what? When I'm sitting at the stop sign and I see dust on my windshield and I take out my little napkin and I dust my
Wipe it
car off
down,
while I'm
sure.
sitting there. I wipe the
There you go.
windshield.
There you go.
off.
Junk mail. All those.
I'm the
That
queen
can
of
all-
junk mail.
That can all be recycled.
all be recycled.
Yes.
And even the ones with the plastic envelopes.
Envelopes with the window, yes.
With the window envelopes. Okay. Because I read that. Was just wanting to be sure.
Oh yeah, if I didn't have junk mail, I wouldn't have to have a recycle bin.
Now, how about? Yeah, exactly. I think that's us too.
That's the majority.
We actually have more weight in our recycling bin than we have in our trash.
So do
Yeah.
we.
Yeah.
So do we.
Same here.
And that's really the way it should be.
That's right.
Correct.
People should realize certain things. The apple core, guess what? Feed the squirrel. It will save your tomato plant.
The coffee grounds.
The coffee grounds are excellent, just for putting around in your garden, whatever. There's so many things that you can compost, your eggshells.
Right. Yep.
All those kinds of things. And you don't realize that until, like I said, when you live in a country where trash pickup does not exist, you learn. Because I've lived in a place when I had a baby and we had diapers, Pampers, they do not go away. I'm telling you. You could dig a hole, bury them, and the roaming dog will find it.
I was wondering where that was going to lead to.
Okay? Ask me how
It's
I
like,
know
do
that
they
one.
rise to the surface? Or?
They do. And you could be someplace where you have, a flood that comes up out of the ground. All that stuff gets pushed right back up.
Sure.
Well, which I think is something we need to touch on after the break is how we've evolved as a society, and we've gone from glass bottles and then to aluminum cans and then to plastic bottles, and now glass is making a comeback because glass is very recyclable.
Yes, very.
Right.
And all those kinds of things, and regular diapers, cloth diapers, rather than the Pampers.
That's right.
And the Pampers are only used. I'm using Pampers like Kleenex.
Right.
Or
Nappies.
disposable diapers.
Nappies.
Yeah, nappies. So you're using those only for emergency situations rather than using it. But people are like, well, who wants to clean a cloth diaper? Well, folks, you got to consider that. This is Arnold Stricker with Ellie Wharton of In Tune. You're listening to KWRHLP 92.9 FM, your community radio station in Webster Groves. Welcome back to In Tune. This is Arnold Stricker with Ellie Wharton. We've been interviewing Director of Public Works for the City of Webster Groves, Todd Rehg.
And I have to go back to this. Man, Todd really burst my bubble, because I thought I was doing the right thing by putting the napkins when I go to, here's a shameless plug, Breadco.
For those of you outside of St. Louis, Panera Bread.
But that's right, exactly. But I always thought that I was doing right by putting the napkin in the recycle part. And now you're telling me to put it in the trash. You gotta break that one down for me a little bit more. I don't quite get that because it's paper.
Yeah, but most of those napkins are already recycled.
Ah.
So you can't recycle a recyclable
Yeah,
material?
It's hard to recycle recycled material. Yeah.
Really?
Oh.
So they don't make... so if you get a gallon jug or a half-gallon jug of milk in the plastic container, when it's recycled, it's used for something else. It's not recycled into
Correct.
another plastic jug.
That's correct.
Okay. See, we are just learning so much. And that's the beauty of this show, because there are little bitty things that people probably every woman in Webster has those little brown napkins in their purse,
We know Ellie does.
That's right.
And condiments.
And that's right.
You need some mustard or ketchup or salt and pepper to see Ellie.
That's right. You pull up to me at the corner of Elm and Lockwood, and it's like, excuse me, do you have any Grey Poupon?
Yeah.
But of course.
It's been in my purse for 10 years.
Right.
It's gray.
It just came from CJ Muggs. Of course I have Grey Poupon.
So here are some what not to recycle: plastic wrap, bubble wrap, plastic sandwich bags, freezer bags, flexible packaging like chip bags and juice or soup pouches. Food waste: scrape all the cans and jars, empty the liquids, put the scraps in your compost. If you don't know what compost is, look it up. We'll have a show on that sometime.
That's right. Look it up.
Soiled paper towels, napkins, and tissues. Garden hoses, rope, leashes, wire, and string. I can't believe this. Dirty diapers and pet waste. What's that going to recycle to?
Well.
Good night. Right. Cups with plastic or waxed coatings. Polystyrene foam and plastic to-go containers and cups. Needles. They can cause serious injuries to workers.
I can't even imagine somebody putting needles in the recyclable.
Right. Those are hazardous waste.
Yeah.
I mean, hazardous waste.
No,
yes.
I didn't know. I knew this. The caps, the plastic caps, they're recyclable.
Yes.
But how about, I didn't know this. Empty aerosol cans can be recycled. Remove the plastic lid.
I didn't know that.
I guess you just need to make sure the contents are out of it, too.
As much as possible, yep.
Now,
Okay.
wait, I have another one that I want to ask the question of. And this has to do with the new LED lights. The little
Light bulbs?
squirrely light bulbs that you're not supposed to throw away. You're supposed to recycle them, but you recycle them to where?
You have to take them to St. Louis County Hazardous Waste, probably. Well, there are other places that you can look it up and see where you can take stuff to recycle.
And folks, we're going to be talking about home hazardous wastes, those hazard like paint and those kind of materials. We're going to talk about that in the second hour, so stay tuned. Second hour. Todd, thank you for that plug for us there.
Because that's why you end up with paint that's been in your basement since 1949.
Right. What do you do with it?
You don't know what to do with it, so you just put it up on the rafters, and there it sits until like 3 generations later comes along and tries to clean out your stuff, and it's like,
Yeah, what's this?
what is this?
So, we were talking off air that, and I was mentioning, folks, that when I'm in doubt about whether I should recycle something, I just throw it away. And Todd so aptly said,
The new slogan is, if in doubt, throw it out.
And that's so much better than what you had come up with. Because do you remember what yours?
when in doubt, throw it away. If I'm unsure, throw it away.
None of those work.
So
they don't flow.
what is it again, Todd?
If in doubt, throw it out.
If in doubt.
Okay, 1 bar rapper. You got to give us a rap
I'll
on
come
that?
up with a rap on that one, man. That makes sense, and it's easy for people to remember.
And it goes back to, like we mentioned before the break, we've gone from bottles where we were using bottles and then people got upset about the bottles and the glass and things like that. So we went to cans. I'm thinking about soft drinks and, alcoholic beverages like that, beer. And then we went to plastic bottles. I don't think I've ever seen, of course, there are beer in plastic bottles and things like that, aren't there?
I don't drink beer, so I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't either.
I don't know. So maybe somebody can text us at 736-4510 and let us know whether there's beer in plastic bottles. So now we're going back to glass, because it is very recyclable. But you think about plates and like plastic plates, real like what is that? Begins with an L. My hard drive's spinning. Melamine. You're looking at me all.
Yeah, we're like
crazy.
we're lost on that one.
It's those it's just like from the 40s. Those plastic plates. They're kind of like the school lunch
wasn't
trays.
around in the
School
40s.
lunch trays are made out of them too. Melamine.
Whatever. Move
Whatever.
on.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So a ceramic plate or something that's hard to. We've gone to these paper plates. We went to styrofoam.
And the styrofoam has been the worst. I'm telling you.
Yeah, styrofoam cups. We still do that. And plastic. It's I think we need to go back to like this hard ceramic cup right here.
Exactly.
And get away from the plastic bottles and use just go fill the water up.
Right,
at
get a
the
Contigo,
fountain.
and they do also have because Sophia always walks in here every week with water that is in a cardboard box. They do sell water now in cardboard recyclable boxes.
But I bet you can't recycle that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you
can?
can. Yeah,
Just like a milk carton and
As long as it's paper.
Yep.
And it's not, because I was
Empty it
reading
out.
on this thing, it's like we can't redo those, here it is, those juice pouches. Oh, it's a pouch.
Yeah, those are like Capri Sun.
Oh, yeah.
We can't recycle Capri Sun things.
No.
No. Wow.
There's another one you can't throw away. Or you can't put in your recycling.
And see, that's what I'm thinking, Todd, is that we need to have that list again,
Right, that's-
so that we can, just remind ourselves, because
Exactly.
it is, you do think that you're doing the right thing. I don't think people are just deliberately, contaminating, but it just seems very
Right.
convenient.
Yeah, it's just everybody's gotten relaxed on it.
Yes,
So, and
yes.
they just need to be.
And again, with recycling, the thing about recycling is that you have to still make it easy for people, because if it becomes too convoluted, people aren't going to do it.
Well, maybe if they just started with one thing like cans and did cans, or, milk containers or something like this. So you get into a flow of something like that. Maybe that's the way to do that.
But see, the issue is that in this country, people don't see where their trash goes to once it leaves their house.
Right.
right.
Unless they look at the trash guy, at 6:00 in the morning coming down the street, once it leaves their house, they're done with it.
It'd be a good field trip. Todd,
Follow the trash can around? The trash guy around?
No, go out to the dump. Where they're
Go
dumping
out to
their
the
trash.
dump. Yes.
Go out to the landfill. That's a euphemism for dump. Landfill. We're filling the land up.
And then we're going to bulldoze it later, and we're going to put a very expensive housing tract on it.
Did she
does
say that?
happen.
Yes, it does.
I'm telling you, it does happen.
So what are some things that you have that we haven't talked about here?
Well, there is a website where you can go to and look up if you're not sure if something could be recycled. It's stlcityrecycles.com/database, and you can plug in LED light bulbs and it'll tell you here's where you can take
where
them.
you can take them. And it's so important because, as we are now visually being able to see the islands of trash floating through our oceans now, that is the thing I think that really is going to make the big difference in people understanding the problem. Because when it was just a land-based problem, like I said, out of sight, out of mind, it's not in my backyard, I don't see it, I don't smell it, I don't care. But when you start to say, I can't go to my favorite beach because there is an island of trash floating by it, now we sit up and pay attention.
Yep.
And that island of trash, I am always shocked because there's not just one of them floating through the world.
Oh, yeah, there's quite a few.
Quite a few.
Well, there's I don't want to say islands of trash, but you can drive down a street and see how people have discarded something.
Right.
Or I'm going to get a little list here because I'm just kind of a little sensitive on this deal, where people have discarded things out of their vehicle, waiting at a stop sign, or just while they're driving down, I don't need this, or I don't want to trash my car up, so it doesn't matter whether the community's trashed up. Or I've seen even when the trash truck picks up, not any around here, but in the city, they dump the trash in and they're driving and it's flying out on the highway because they didn't put the top on, or, something happens and it's like, where's all this trash come from? Or in streams, and there's an effort to clean up our
Yes,
streams
there is.
and
There's a
things
big
like
effort
that.
for that.
Yep.
There was a long time people thought, throwing tires and dumping old cars in creeks were a good way to, keep the erosion down.
It's so crazy. Even to the point of, oh, my dog died. Doop! Throw him in the creek. That was way back when. But it's true. Things happen. But when it comes to disposing things, people, they look for the area of least resistance, and you're right. It's like when somebody is sitting at a stoplight or stop sign and they take and throw their bag of fast food out the window, I tell you, I see red. I truly do. I see. Talk about road rage. That will send me into road rage.
Well, and you stop, and we're kind of getting off on a little tangent here because
because we can.
Yeah, because we can. Yeah,
That's right.
But it's bothersome to me because you'll make you're going to make a right turn coming off the highway, and right there's like a million cigarette butts or something like that.
And cigarette butts don't break down either.
Nope.
That's what people don't realize. They don't break down.
They just blow away.
Yeah.
The answer is blowing in the wind.
Definitely, but they don't break down.
And I think anybody who comes into a community wants to come into a community that looks nice. Curb appeal to me, clean curbs are a huge thing. Here's one of my pet peeves: all my folks that I see blowing their leaves out into the street.
Yeah.
What do they think's going to happen to them? Unless they got somebody coming to pick them up.
That's against ordinance too, by the way.
Exactly. And what they think is going to happen is that it's going to blow, and it's going to blow into the gutters.
It blows into my yard.
And it will blow down into the gutters, and it'll clog the gutters, and then the street will flood.
That's right.
So-
And you have that problem. I'll tell you my pet peeve. In this neighborhood, it's the guys that come and cut the lawn, and then they leave all of the lawn trim
Grass
cuttings
clippings. Yep.
in the street.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I have a guy who comes and cuts my yard. I'm going to give him a plug, Simon. And Simon is tremendous. But you know what? He would never cut my yard and leave that cutting in the street.
Well, I was taught your first cut, your first 2 cuts or 3 cuts, whatever your mower is throwing, if you have a side thrower, you cut that many so it's not throwing onto, because it's making more work for you. Because when I cut lawns as a kid, it's like I had to go sweep that up. So it's like, why do I want to do that and make more work for myself? But apparently people don't care.
And they leave it there, and they think, well, the wind will blow it.
The street sweeper will get it.
Yeah,
Traffic,
right.
yeah, right.
Which we do have great street sweepers here, though. I will tell you, I can tell when they come up my street because we've got this one tree that's like right there at the corner of. I'll tell you when we get off air. But that is one of those kind of trees that I want to say it nicely. It constantly defecates on the street. Okay.
What?
Just drive straight up the street. You'll see that tree. I mean, it is a constant source of pine needles, pine cones, and I mean, it just rains down these things, and it does. It looks awful. It makes that part of the street look really dirty and just unkempt.
And the street sweepings have to go to the landfill because they're not just leaves and grass clippings. There's trash in it too.
I imagine quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so folks, this website that Todd was talking about, stlcityrecycles.com, what a great website. They have a PDF on, did you know that you can recycle pizza boxes, which we talked about that. Clean aluminum foil is recyclable. Plastic caps and lids. No styrofoam. And there's some very good data on there, and it is a database that you can look up if you have a question about whether something is recyclable or not.
And Todd, I don't know. I know because you're not one that's developing this, but have you all thought about the use of hemp in terms, because it is something that's recyclable, it can break down, and it can be made into all different types of products. It can be made as spoons and forks and.
You're talking about hemp rope?
Yes, The hemp actually, you grow it and then you use the byproduct to make recyclable products. I mean, that's like going to be one of the new industries that's upcoming, because we've got to come up with a way we got to get rid of straws. We got to get rid of styrofoam cups. We've got to get rid of the coffee cups that are waxed. Okay. We've got to get rid of those things. Napkins, obviously. Okay. But just think of how many people go out and eat fast food every day. It's in a bag. They've got, a box for their chips. They've got a wrapper for their burger. They've got something else for something. They've got condiments. They've got all kinds of stuff.
It's like going to the grocery store and, paper or plastic. And I remember when it was only paper when I was growing up.
Right. Yep. And now, the thing is, we should be encouraging people to bring their own bags.
Yeah, the tote bags. Uh-huh.
The tote bags and use them.
So what other encouraging words do you have for us on this topic?
Well, just look for that education brochure and magnet that we're going to be sending out here in hopefully
a couple months. Couple months,
yeah.
Okay.
And don't forget, when in doubt,
February.
Throw it out.
There you go. Or or like I say, when in doubt, put it in your purse.
Oh, what's that halfway eaten Big Mac in there?
Wait, you'd be surprised. You look at women that are hearing this right now, they are relating to
Yeah,
this.
they're
Okay, I
shaking
know
their
you
heads.
men.
Oh, yeah.
You men can't relate to this because your man bags don't get filled up like this, But no, women, we can relate to that. I used to tell my kids, I don't care if you don't have a pocket, you eat that piece of paper.
Do we have problems with the yard waste collection at all?
No, I mean, really, the only problems that we have are sometimes people have it overloaded and exceeding the 50-pound limit because they put dirt in it and they can't pick those cans up. So that's the biggest problem we see. But overall, no.
And really, should the lid close over the top of those things? Technically, I've seen the things with
sticking out 6 feet. Yeah, because you're supposed to have them in 4-foot lengths or smaller.
Right.
So,
I just chopped down my tree.
Yeah.
Hey.
Break them in half. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, they'll get rid of it.
And can you wrap them up? It used to be that you could wrap them up and put them by the curb
Yeah,
too.
in bundles with with string. Yeah,
At 4 feet long.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm just kind of thinking about that stuff.
Now, Webster doesn't have the curb vacuuming for the leaves, right?
No.
No. Okay. That's Ladue.
Or you can blow your leaves next to your neighbor who actually does have that. And
I probably think
work with your neighbor. Yeah.
I think my neighbor next door. I don't. I'm gonna say this because I know they're not listening, but I know they're gonna think I blew all my leaves into their yard because my yard, thanks to Simon, is nice and clean. Their yard
it's not.
is not. But
Well, this is an important thing because we did talk about this at the Health and Environmental Committee meeting the other night, and every time I get something, it's like, okay, am I recycling this? You get something in the mail via Amazon or via, in a box. You want the box broken down, correct?
Correct.
What about these big metal staples that are in the box? Can they remain?
They can remain. Yeah.
What about the tape on the box?
That's fine too.
Okay. All right.
and my mom gets a lot of stuff from Omaha Steaks, and we get those styrofoam ice chest. Oh my goodness!
You just have to throw those away, right?
Yep.
Exactly. Or
When in doubt,
throw it out
okay.
because those are too big to put in my purse.
Does that go to that styrofoam mountain?
Yeah, it's got to go
Mount
somewhere
Styrofoam?
because it's Mount Styrofoam because that stuff does not break down.
Nope.
We will be seeing styrofoam scars from Mars. When we're up there looking down, we're gonna say, "What's that?" That's just a styrofoam scar.
We could build the styrofoam bridge to Mars.
Yeah, there you go, Arnold. Chris is on it. He's got that new technology back there. He is waiting.
He's been eagerly waiting.
That's right. He is. You got to watch him now.
No, we appreciate you being here, Todd, to go over this. I think I know sometimes it was an inconvenience. It's something you have to get into a habit of.
Right.
And once you get into the habit of it, I think sometimes you get a little lax if you're not paying attention or you're not cognizant of how yes, this is acceptable. No, this is not acceptable. This is what I have to do with these certain things. And cleaning them out, I think, has always been a bugaboo. Rinsing them out. But I'd rinse them out, but then I wouldn't let them dry thoroughly.
Right. And you're right. That is another thing that you just taught me.
Yeah.
I would rinse it out and toss it again.
Yeah, I rinsed it out.
Right. I rinsed it out.
And what do they want?
And you throw it in your bin, and you've got paper in there, and all that water goes on your paper. And
So even then, with your recyclables, you should have a paper recycling thing, and then you should have another one for.
You could do that, and then at the end of the week, put it together.
Put
in
it
your
together.
bin.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, it's a conscious effort. And it goes into all the other aspects of mindfulness when you start to think about overall mindfulness, because you have to stop and think that every little thing that I have impacts our environment.
That's right.
It's just like any kind of implicit bias that you may have, decisions that you make about people, stereotypes, all that. Hurts and damages our environment as a whole, whether it be your psychic, whether it be your emotional, whatever. That's what we have to look at. We are creating scars on our planet.
Well,
And I don't care if the rich guys are trying to get to Mars, because if they have the same mindset, they're going to go up to Mars and do what? Take their little plastic
Trash it
straws and trash it up.
styrofoam and
Styrofoam it up.
and build the styrofoam bridge back to Earth.
That's right. Exactly.
Styrofoam palace.
Yeah,
No, it's
great.
important to I think go back to some basic things. We're very we have an overabundance in our country. We waste food, we waste paper. How many Kleenexes do you need to blow your nose? Those kinds of things.
Depends on your age.
That's true.
If you're 3, it may take 5.
Depends on how big your nose is.
There
too.
you go.
It works that way. So I think we just need to be cognizant of, like you said, Ellie, of where we are and be good stewards of our environment and the things that we've been given. Food waste. It's great going down the garbage disposal. Not good to be in those kind of materials. Use it for composting. And if you need some help with composting. Does the city have information on composting? St. Louis County has a huge composting
There's
thing.
websites that have all that information through the county.
So we encourage you to, get your little compost bin. It could be a plastic container.
Well, Webster actually sold compost bins last season. I think they were $20. I got one,
Yep.
and they were nice little compost bins. And actually, I only ordered one because the supply was limited. The day that we had the pickup for it, everybody wished they had ordered 2.
Right.
It was just like, oh man, and it was like, well, we don't know when it's going to come around again. But everybody that came and got one of those was wishing that we had purchased 2 of them.
So here's a question. I'm throwing a curveball at Todd right now. How much salt does the city store, or do they use salt for the roads in the wintertime?
Yes. We have a salt dome that can hold 3,000 tons. And beginning of this winter, we had about 2,200 tons in it. So,
And it looks like winter is starting early. Do you all ever run out of salt?
no, we've never run out. We've gotten low.
Okay.
But there has been other municipalities that have run out, and then they call other municipalities, hey, you got any salt you can spare? So.
Now, do you use any other kind of materials with the salt, or is it strictly salt? Because I know they have some of these mixture things.
Yeah, there's a calcium chloride chemical that you can add to it, and that's only effective when the temperature is below 20 degrees.
Oh, well, we don't want it to get below
That's
20
right.
degrees.
That's
We don't
right.
want to use that one.
And then we have the brine that we go out ahead of time. And this last storm, we didn't have our brine trucks ready because it came so early.
It did come
'Cause
early.
We usually don't get the brine trucks ready till after Thanksgiving, and this storm came before Thanksgiving. So we didn't have the brine trucks for that one, but we went out and pre-salted all the subdivision side streets and everything. So we didn't want to do the main roads because of all the traffic on that. It would just push the salt off. So
It's really important to, there is a scientific process to doing that.
yes, yeah, you have to calculate.
And so you're not wasting materials. And
That's correct.
And that's expensive too. Mm-hmm. Very expensive. And that's one of the reasons I hear why the city of St. Louis has such a difficult time, because they only have so much in their budget.
Right.
And the worst thing that could happen is that they think they're going to have a snowstorm. They go out and salt, and then there's no snowstorm.
Then you wasted it.
And
right.
you've wasted
Yep.
it. Once it's gone.
So we're relying on the meteorologists. and
That's
everybody
very
knows
true.
they're 50-50. So
yeah.
And the thing of it is that, it's true that they say, well, snow is coming through. And it may, you go up north,
Right.
and
Depends
they
on how
are
it-
in a blizzard.
can split when
And you
it gets
come
to
down
zero.
here
That's right.
and it's not even raining. And I've been in situations like that where the weather is so diverse in this region that, yes, it's like it's going to rain. It's like 90% chance of rain somewhere.
Turn the shower on.
That's it,
No, Todd Rehg, thanks very much for being here today.
Thank you.
And talking with us.
I sure learned a lot, Todd. I did. I learned a lot.
throw those napkins away.
Hey, we want you to stay tuned, folks, because we're going to talk in the second hour about household hazardous waste. And what is that? You've got some toxic, flammable, corrosive, reactive liquids and maybe some paint around, varnishes, pesticides, poisons, gasolines. We're going to talk about all those, because everybody has those either in the garage or in the basement.
I was going to say, I have all of that.
So it's like, what do you do with that? Or like you said, Ellie, you're cleaning out somebody's garage or their basement. What are you going to do with that stuff? You'll find out in the second hour. This is Arnold Stricker with Ellie Wharton of In Tune. You're listening to KWRHLP 92.9 FM, your community radio station in Webster Groves, Missouri.